spirituality. What is that? Is the spirituality really necessarily, or it's not necessary at all? And so many people, they live on this planet without the spirituality, right? I'd say that the part of the people who believe that the spirituality is kind of escape from life. Unfortunately, both sides, they're thinking like that. And also those who are on the spiritual path. And quite often I'm coming across myself as a teacher, those kind of beliefs that if I'm embarking myself on the spiritual path, so that means I don't have to live the life anymore. Or, so often it's just the people, they never return to that everyday life, and they really want to stay in the spirituality as if that would be like special or separate realm from the life itself. So I would like to start with a kind of different question. It's more rhetorical rather. So why does this world still stand? Why, despite all the wars, despite all the conspiracies, aliens, good and bad, not so good things, very good things, why the world is still standing? And standing, so just in general, why the world is here? And if so, the world is not collapsing. So, what it's all about? What keeps this world together? So, scientists, it's not only scientists, but also representatives of many other fields, gradually showing, bringing in more and more evidences, and they're relying on the fact that everything is energy, and they're different in that everything, what we see, what we experience, is just a frequency, but makes it different. So, hence the form. So, therefore, all what we see, the entire world, is the manifestation or expression of that energy. And that energy in itself is this primordial vibration. Yet there's another aspect to it, that no matter how trapped, contracted, no matter the form of the energy, so that energy always finds its way, always brings itself to the balance. Just like in the water, or just like war and peace, the tension, relaxation. So we can see in everyday life and the world how this balance, how this energy brings itself into the balance. So that implies that this energy is not only some movement, but usually this is what we understand when we say energy, but also that energy holds the intelligence and wisdom in itself, because it knows how to become that certain form, it knows how to evolve, how to come to an end, the cease, and how to be reborn again. So here comes into the picture the fundamental law of the entire universe, of the entire creation, that the balance is everything. So that means that the balance is the perfection, just because when everything is perfect, everything is in balance. So since the basis of everything is the energy, and everything is made of the energy, so everything is in this perfect energy or balance all the time. So you can say that the spirituality was given to us to understand, to see, to recognize that that flow of the energy in everything is the main law of the universe. And that becoming and unbecoming, appearing, reappearing, disappearing, is the flow of the world. Just like in the entire creation, in the entire universe. So everything is that flow, including us, human beings. So spirituality has been here all the times, and spirituality doesn't belong to any particular religion, practice, country, nation. So just like meditation, awakening Kundalini or Shakti, but I'll talk about that in the later satsangs. So of course, some of the traditions, they created systems in order for us humans to understand that more clearly, and not only understand, but also to experience that from our own practice. So we often hear, know, and use the term yoga, right? Which is translated from Sanskrit, means union. So yogic practice is the practice of attained wisdom and understanding that a human being is made of so many systems, so many bodies, or in other words, many energy layers. And union or yoga serves to satisfy every aspect, every side, not only to satisfy, but to serve each and every side and aspect of the human being. So let's take it the physical aspect, would be the physical body. So here we have asanas. We have various areas of yoga that specifically dealing with the body, right? And yoga also takes care of the subtle and mental body, helping to understand not only what asana is being performed, but how the process itself occurs, as well as explaining fundamental law of the energy, that the energy balances itself, but you have to work with all the aspects of it. So we have here pranayama practice, which is the breathing technique, breathing practice, right? And the breathing exercises and techniques, this is what helps the body to balance itself or to mobilize energies. Then we have another aspect. We have Ayurveda, which offers diet, treatments, different perspective to this, the well-being of the body. As well as we have meditation as a yoga as well. So that takes care of the consciousness aspect in it. So yoga itself shows how everything is interconnected within our human being, within our human aspect. So this is what is interconnected within, so as interconnected outside. So spirituality over the time, over centuries, especially these days, unfortunately gained somewhat negative connotation, because it was most of the time connected either to the church or to the cult, to some sort of religion. So we kind of gradually lost the true meaning of the spirituality. But anyway, in all tradition, so all tradition agrees that there is a fundamental problem of a human being, of the human existence, is the suffering aspect. And that suffering aspect derives from the sense, belief, idea of separation. Just because we not only believe that, we experience that through our body. So that means I'm single, I'm separated, I'm on my own. That's why I need to defend myself. That's why I have to hold on to something in order for me to survive. So basically, human life is more of the survival experience rather than the living or the life itself. So that human aspect, identify ourselves with the body, with the ego, our personality, and the mind, this is what actually creates the suffering. And along the way, we are acquiring many more identifications, like status, professions, friends, style, clothing, beliefs, concepts, anything. And this is what actually keeps us in this cage of limitations or limiting beliefs or ideas or aspects. And that identification creates the sense of separation because we're sort of concealing that and bringing that close to our body. And that's why it seems that the world and the life revolves around me. However, it's hard to look from other perspective than the ego just because of this identification. So that's why we are really trying to fight and hold on to that what we believe, because we think that's what it is. This is who we are. So, in any case, all the time, any clinging, any identification, any attachment to something, as something, causes that suffering and the sense of separation. Spirituality means elevated or subtle. And it's not in the sense of speaking the soft voice, dressing up in white, on burning incenses, or walking on the tiptoeing. Yet it does create this atmosphere, it creates that supportive aspect, but as you can see, all that comes from outside. However, the spirituality or the spiritual, this elevation and subtleness comes from inside. It comes from this intimate connection, that subtle connection within yourself, with yourself. So spirituality comes from inside and not the other way around. In other words, that antenna is right here. It's inside of ourselves, within our heart, our spiritual heart, which is our own center at the same time. So how to reach that elevation, right, from inside, if that outside things, they don't work.